Welcome back to Moments with the Marcelins. My name is Jun.
And my name is Stephanie.
And we are the Marcelins. Our moments together will be centered around three things: transparency, tools, and truth.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode 10 of season 4. That is crazy. I feel like time has literally flown by. But by all means, thank you so much for tuning in again. If you're listening to this episode on your favorite podcast platform, please make sure to leave us a comment and to rate this podcast. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates whenever we upload a new video.
Wow, so this is the final episode, like Steph said, and how do you feel?
My gosh, I feel like it's been like a blink of an eye and things have just happened so fast. As you all know, we're expecting, so now we're literally on the final trimester before she's here, and we're just in get ready prep mode with everything. And I feel like now time is just speeding up so fast,
with an addition of other updates that have happened in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And more change.
Yeah.
That is going to be happening.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of
in the next upcoming months. So
yeah.
I
think there's just a lot of stuff coming all at the same time, which is exciting. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think throughout our journey in life, we've learned to adapt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Smoothly to changes and transitions. And one of those things that, we wanted to kind of share today is how do we kind of prepare for that? And for any change and transition in your life, it's important for you to be aware of what you need, so that way you can be the best version of yourself in that season.
That's so good.
And so I think
so what are some of those things that would you say that, when you're about to enter a season of transition and just, new additions and adapting, what are some things you would share?
Yeah, so I think one of the first things that's really important to me is self-care. And the reason why I would say this is one of the top, which is I'm talking more practical things, you know what I'm saying? Because there's obviously prayer and you being, devoted to God and being in a church and a community. Those are all important things to have as a foundation. But I think self-care speaks to the awareness of self. What do you need? And sometimes we're so busy in serving others that you get so tied up in that, and that your identity becomes that, and you forget that you need to be full. You know what I mean? You need to be filled. And whether that is taking a break, from certain things and putting a pause on deadlines that you've put for yourself that no one else is asking you to do but yourself, or having realistic expectations on what you can achieve at a certain moment in your life, because your attention is going to be required somewhere else. And so what are those realistic things? So when it comes to that, I think self-care is number one, and that just again is kind of ties into that awareness of self. And that self-care can be emotionally, having a person available that you can speak to freely about what you're going through. Practically, it can be, simple things like getting your nails done or getting your hair done, or, treating yourself to something that you enjoy, an activity, or whatever the case is. So I think for me, the practicality of it is that self-care, to kind of be prepared for those transitions and those changes that do come in life. How about you?
Absolutely. I think one of the things for me, in addition to the self-care aspect, is just kind of okay, planning and strategizing. How is this going to look?
Yeah.
Obviously, life kind of hits you and it doesn't go exactly how you planned, but with that being said, you still need to prepare, and so tapping into your schedule and, hey, I used to get up at this time, now we're about to have a new addition to the family. That might adjust, and for some, that will change, the time that I used to go to the gym, the time that I used to, read a book or do anything for that matter. And so adjusting with that and understanding this new rhythm per se, and finding my new rhythm in life. And so preparation for that, and probably some things that you may have kind of not had or not prioritized. Maybe there's new priorities. There's new priorities, and so you need to prioritize that. And so planning and strategizing those things is something that is good to do, especially when you're about to enter a new season in your life. And so something that maybe you've been wanting to do for a long time that you kind of put off, you're like, okay, now that I'm not doing this per se, I can now devote more attention to this. Because I think sometimes when we try to do a bunch of good things, we're not really effective. But when we excel, when we focus on a few things, then we excel in it. And so I think it's important to strategize and plan for the new season that is ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So, self-care, planning. And so with that, I think one of the things that we've decided just kind of for ourselves to like ensure that, again, we're the best that we can be. Because we're like in this last stretch, and it's just so crazy. Like I get a countdown like every single day. Like we're X amount of days away, and I'm like, oh
how many days are we?
We are.
I'll look.
I think it's like less than 100 days now.
Wow.
Yeah. So 13, 12, 13 weeks to go ish. And yeah, so it just happening so fast. And one of the things is that, we've realized, and this is something like we've instilled in like our culture and just like our planning period, when it comes to anything in life, is that when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And the yes to something can be something that you enjoy, that you really love. But then again, that's taking your time away from something else. And so one of the things that we kind of decided is to kind of just take a pause, like off honestly everything, just to like really focus and like be present in the moments that we're going to be living in. You know what I mean? And what we're going to be walking into, being more aware, being in tune, like emotionally and spiritually and mentally, to kind of what is to come. And, part of that is just kind of just taking a break off everything. So yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Like,
yeah, for sure. And we definitely will be back for those of you who might be like, oh my gosh, you're quitting. Like, no, we're not quitting. It's just taking a moment to kind of pause. Just like, I don't want to miss a moment in our daughter's life, you know? And, again, like I stated, there's other things that you'll be knowing in the upcoming months, if you don't already, of changes in our lives, that is going to, require more time and effort towards that and our attention to that. And so we want to take that time and really just be able to focus on that. Especially, I think for me, number one thing is definitely our daughter. And then there's just been other things that I've been kind of wanting to do as well. Other projects that, like, because it's just so much going on, I'm like, you know what, let's take a break and then we'll come back. And typically after every season, we do take a few months off anyways, and we come back to, new ideas, rejuvenate and things like that. But this one will be a little longer because of the new addition in our family and just different things that we want to do. And so it's if I'm honest, like in the beginning when we talk about putting pauses on anything, usually for me that can be a bit challenging at times. And I remember even in the beginning of the first couple of seasons when we started recording the podcast, it was like we weren't really doing seasons. It was literally like, okay, I remember our first season, for example, was like 10 episodes, so 10 weeks straight, like a material. And I'm telling you, anyone who records a podcast, it's more than just coming up here and speaking and just sharing thoughts. No, there's so much preparation that goes into it and editing and all of that. It is not as easy as, it looks. And so, that first season, I remember I'm like, all right, it was like a week and a half or 2 weeks. I'm like, all right, season 2. And you're like, wait a minute, that's not a season. There's 4 seasons, in a year. And you're trying to come back in 2 weeks. And for me, it took some digging, but I was of the mindset, let's continue to just keep recording because our listeners need to hear our voice. They need to hear what's sharing. Someone, there's a need that is there, and if we're not there, it's like this messianic complex that if my voice isn't there, then someone won't be able to benefit. And then when I began to really do some digging into why, June, is it that you want to consistently keep going without taking a break in between, I discovered that, for me, a challenge since I was young, and I've shared this before previously, is that my worth or sometimes my value comes in what I do. And so the moment that I stop doing something consistently, it's reflecting on me not being able to complete something that I started. And so to do that is not only a disservice to myself, but it's also a disservice to God, because He tells us that we need to rest and we need to have those moments of just being still and being silent. And so I had to be comfortable with, hey, like, those people that are meant to listen to this podcast are going to be there. And so you need to trust me with them, and understanding that God cares for those supporters more than I could ever, and God cares about me more than I care about myself, like, if we're being honest. And so I had to understand, I had to learn and just be reminded. And when I discovered that, I'm like, okay, like that third and this season and that when that following season came, I was like, okay, we could take a couple months off, And I was afraid, like, man, we're going to lose. We worked so hard to build this, and now it's just going to be completely gone because we've been gone so long. And, how it is right now is just out of sight, out of mind. But it's like, no, those supporters came and they grew, and so thank you for that. And so with this, it's more or less the same thing. It's like we need to take that time to really just kind of figure our rhythm out, with this new addition in our lives. And then, there are other projects in our lives that we're working on and that we want to be able to focus our attention on as well.
Yeah, no, thank you for that transparency. To be honest, I know it's challenging, right? Because for so long you have a dream, right? Or you have a desire, and you know what I mean? Like you it's like a baby who, like, you know what I mean? You plan for it, you prepare for it, you birth it, and then, you know what I mean? Other stuff just kind of happens. And I think it's just important to know the times that you're living in. And, Lord gave me grace to walk in and out of seasons. You know what I mean? Even if it's temporarily, it's not a no forever. And so we just wanted to also just thank you for your continual support throughout the entire 4 seasons. You know what I mean? And so it honestly means the world to us, and we're just excited to kind of continue to take you along in this next season as mom and dad. Like, that's so crazy. You know what I mean? And what we learn and what, you know what I mean, how we grow and the challenges that will come, from that as well. But we're here to really just kind of embrace it all and be present in these moments. And, you know what I mean? Like, the newborn stage is a really short stage. And after that, like, it's pretty much done. You know what I'm saying? And then they grow into toddlers and, you know what I mean? They just get bigger. So we just wanted to be present for a lot of those things. And, again, just be the best version of ourselves to each other, you know what I mean? And to, our work that we're devoted to too. So
yeah, definitely. And, we'll definitely be doing some type of recording, and then, like, there'll be some types of things you're gonna see a little bit of us, you know what I'm saying? Probably not as frequent, but every now and then, we might pop up. And so there's definitely some things that we're gonna discuss and would want to share with you all. And so stay tuned. But I just want to thank each and every one of you. I can't thank you all enough for the love and support that you all have shown thus far. I cannot wait to see y'all again and be recording again. But for this time, we just want to focus on this new addition in our family, our baby girl. I want to encourage you that if you're someone right now you feel like you may need to take a break, look, take some time to reflect. Take some time to reflect and great ideas, great, visions and things like that comes from times of rest, when you can focus and be creative. And sometimes it's okay to just live in the moment. Live in the moment. And so thank y'all again for rocking with us for these past 4 seasons. Season 5 is going to be a movie, literally. And so we love y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again. Take care.
God bless.
And much love.
Much love.